We are recording.
We are recording. Hello. I do want to start off with saying something.
Yeah.
If this were The Godfather,
Okay. Oh.
Dad would be Andy. Hello, I'm Annette
Dandy.
Comiskey.
Yeah.
This is Annette. We're so excited to have her on the podcast.
So I'm married to Andrew Comiskey, who's been a frequent.
and that's a defining characteristic that she lives by. Her husband.
He's been
That's
a
who she
frequent
is.
guest
Sorry.
on this podcast. And this is my daughter, Catherine.
Okay.
But I call her Katie.
Yeah. Nope. Nobody calls me Catherine.
Anyway, if we were making The Godfather, Andy would be Robert S. Evans, who was Robert Evans.
Gosh, she was a very
Who was the head of
broken
Paramount?
man. Yes.
Oh no, I'm
yes.
talking about a studio head. You two would be Francis Ford Coppola.
Marco gets to be Francis Ford Coppola. I don't think he knows who that is.
And I would be name the producer for the Godfather. Name him.
Name him.
Okay.
Name him.
Albert Rudy. I would be Albert Rudy.
Okay, she literally used this whole analogy so she could drop that she knows a producer.
No, I have a point.
The Godfather. Mom, it's 2024. She didn't know I'm just Ken
Okay.
song.
If
Get into the
if I do
modern
this
era.
again, we need the producer. We need a makeup person. I want my face done. I want my hair
yes.
done.
Okay, great.
Can you do that, Katie?
Yes.
I'll do.
I'll get my Mary Kay out.
I'll make
My
sure
Mary Kay
I'll
back.
handle the Coppola if you want to do the.
Well, that's only fitting.
The other thing I want to say,
only appropriate.
if any of you viewers out there are drinking coffee and or beer, this could also be a pong game because every time I say film,
Pong game? A drinking game.
well, drinking game.
A pong game is... I don't know what that... Like beer pong?
Yes, that's it.
But
Okay.
that's a party game where people are at a table.
Well, what's the game? No, it's a drinking game. We're like, every time I'm
It's called
24.
a drinking game.
Every time I'm 24, when Kiefer would say, damn, you'd have to take a shot.
Oh.
Okay, I sometimes
what?
interchange
It is
film
also
and
not the
movies.
mid-2000s.
It is for me. I sometimes
Disgusted.
change film for movies.
I like it.
Oh, yes. My mom thinks film and movie are very different.
And they are.
It is very
And
pretentious
So I'm going to try
distinction.
and only say movies. But everyone could take a shot every time I say film.
Maybe we need to put a little something.
Oh, maybe my mom already has a little something in there. Maybe she got started
A little
early.
Kahlua.
So
A
why
little
are-
Kahlua.
I
Aloha.
have
I think it's an Hawaiian liqueur.
Okay, so why are we
hello.
here today?
Well,
Exciting.
this is so in our lane. We usually talk about like people who came out of homosexuality, but
Today.
we're talking about the Oscars.
Hello.
Dun, dun, dun.
Woo woo, 2024. Well, yes, 2024 Oscars.
Yes.
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 We will be making our predictions. We're experts. Marco. Hey, Marco.
Hey, Marco.
You know,
What's your
I'm.
favorite film of this year?
You said film, not movie.
It was
Take a shot.
It was
Take a shot.
It was a choice. I want this
Okay.
audience
Oppenheimer.
blasted.
Have you seen it?
I have.
What other other movies have you seen?
Flowers of the Killer Moon. Killers of the Flower Moon.
Flowers
First
of the
all,
Killer
get
Moon.
the title correct.
Did you watch all of it?
I did.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Well, save
And
it
then-
for the
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's
discussion.
so easy to say.
Save it for the discussion.
Did you see Poor Things? Amazing.
Astounding.
Inc-
Did
Incredible.
you see Maestro?
Maestro.
Maestro.
My mom can't say any. She's like maestro. Yo
Okay.
quiero
teacher
un
in
baño.
I also can't say film noir. So let's just
Or
get,
Wait, can I ask a question to Annette? You've always really liked the Oscars, right? Don't
yes,
you?
I grew up watching them.
So didn't you used to have parties?
Yes, Andy and I started. Well, my sister and I started having parties in probably 1978, and at that point we would take the. Actually, I have a fun story about when you were born in the Oscars, but that's okay.
Oh, Catherine.
And
Oh me.
we would actually have to take the LA Times the day before the Oscars came out to cut out
Ballot.
the ballot and then paste it on. I mean, tape it. Scotch tape it onto paper.
Stop the Kahlua. Cut her off. Bartender. Bartender. She's good.
And then get it mimeographed.
Xerox?
No,
Oh.
we would get it Xeroxed. But
Oh,
anyway,
that's so cool.
but we would have. So we had parties until we.
Are
came
these the
here.
days where you would like cut out the clip art and
Oh,
like
yeah,
tape
yeah.
it on?
And then and they
Little
were
Oscar man.
They were elaborate. They were very elaborate, and they were huge. And we had a couple big ones here. But the problem is when we moved to Kansas City, the Oscars are an hour later, and Andy goes to bed like at 8.
Oh, yeah.
And so they'd be on like an hour. He'd go to bed, and I'd be stuck in a room full of people, and we'd be shouting, and so we stopped doing it.
We had him growing up, though.
Oh, we had him growing up, and
That's so fun.
excuse
yeah, it was
me.
super fun.
We've had a person who was nominated for an Oscar at one of our parties. Now, I'm not going to say that person's name because they might not want to be associated with us.
Whoa.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably hard line in the sand
That's
for
a
them.
cool thing.
Yeah.
Were
and
they
that-
there? No, of course they weren't there the year they were nominated.
Yeah. No.
They're like,
weren't-
I'm not going to the show. I'm with the Comiskey's.
And
They show up
Bigger
in a
invite.
gown.
And
like,
this is actually this person's
It was
name.
a guy, so
This person's name. Yeah,
that's why they are friends with my
He
parents.
wasn't a gown. That's why.
That's exactly
That's why
they
he was
know
in Living
Andrew
Water.
and Annette.
But this is another cool fact, and you can look this up. There was a man who was a librarian, and he loved the movies, and he created a kind of system to categorize all these films. And so he kind of presented it to the Academy Library. They hired him. He had passed away, but he was, for probably 10 to 15 years, the person backstage who stood in front of the Academy Awards and would hand the statue to whoever was taking the award out.
Oh, that's so
That's
cool.
really
That's
neat.
so awesome.
Yeah, and he got. I never wanted to go. I mean, honestly, me and crowds. You have to park. You have to walk. Super Bowl, nah. Sorry, Taylor. But we had several friends that he could get 2 tickets. And he would take like his wife
Oh,
and like one
whoa.
other person to
That's
go to
really
the Academy
cool.
Awards. Yeah, and he got us a really neat poster, which I don't know what we did.
We have lost so many really cool posters. We had the Kramer one, when Kramer
We
got
still
his,
have the Kramer
No,
one.
we don't.
Oh, okay.
When Kramer got his portrait, like in a Seinfeld episode, very iconically.
Have
And
you
they-
Seinfeld? It's a TV show.
have you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, have you
Okay,
seen
wait.
it?
What's your favorite episode?
No soup for you.
Oh yeah, thank you for not saying the name. It's not
Yeah,
okay
thank
anymore,
you.
especially in light of Zone of Interest.
Oh
we
my
don't say that word.
I'm sweating.
Okay, you should.
He
be.
probably loves Friends. Marco would definitely love Friends.
No, I never
more
really
than
liked
Seinfeld.
it. I never
Okay.
liked Friends. I
Well,
didn't.
Not a matter.
Phoebe was annoying to
Yeah.
me. Sorry.
He didn't mean
Lisa
that.
Kudrow, you're a number one fan.
We know Lisa's. Anyway,
love you.
back to the Oscars.
So Oscars. So
yes.
how the show was gonna work? We're gonna go through some of the major categories. We're gonna skip editing and production design and all that fun
And then
stuff.
I'm going to ask questions when I don't
Okay, well, I
understand.
wasn't even done. Wow, I was still going over what we were doing as a
Poor
big
me.
picture. Oh, poor thing.
Poor Ken.
So we'll
our
go
theme
through the categories. Then we'll say who's probably gonna win based on kind of Oscar knowledge, internet research. Who do we think will win? But who should
And
win?
then Marco.
Oh.
Marco's guests are called Stabs in the Dark.
Okay, and also Marco, before we started, what did you say you would be doing, Marco? Please,
I'm going to.
please quote yourself.
Gosh, you think it's okay to say something and then you say it and you're like, that was so
Not
stupid.
around Kaminsky.
I said I was going to play the dumb guy on the podcast.
So
play.
no, Marco said he was gonna play the dumb guy, and I kid you not. And no offense to our listeners, I'm so sorry.
Katie, you said save it for the pod.
Yeah, I did say save for fun because I'm going in. Because what was it 5 years ago that Marco said his favorite?
No, okay, no.
Censorship. Silencing a woman,
You
American
are
Ferrera. Give me that
unbelievable.
speech about women because I'm being silenced by a man. He said
No.
his favorite movie of all time.
This is
All
you
caps.
are
He had tears in his
unbelievable.
eyes. And we're like, what movie? Not even what's your favorite, what's your favorite, but also what movie shaped you as a person.
You are too
He said Patch Adams.
A little side note.
Patch Adams
you-
about
you
a
weren't
doctor
even
who heals with
there.
laughter. Sick, dying children. And it's like, I'm putting on a clown nose and you feel better. That's
Well, and-
that shaped him.
It was a very warm movie.
It's not. It's awful. It's a horror.
No, just kidding. I actually
we
don't really.
weren't. We liked Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, we like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Hello, Vietnam, or Good Morning, Vietnam. whatever
Good
that-
morning, Vietnam.
That was an okay one. But,
Sure,
you know,
him
but-
playing serious was somewhat.
Hello, my name is Robin Williams.
He definitely
sometimes
turned-
I'm like Mark, but sometimes I'm Robin Williams. Let's carpe diem. And so he
Oh,
was.
Captain, my Captain.
And Katie, you did I say the movie shaped me?
He implied it with the tears, and so
and you did have a clown nose.
yeah, and he was trying to make me laugh. And I was really,
assumed
really
the character.
sick. So I was very sick that day, and Marco came. a doctor's coat with a clown nose, and he tried to heal me with laughter, and I was
I've
like,
moved on. I've grown up since then.
I do want to say one thing about the Comiskey's. We seem nice.
not based on the pod.
There are many categories. I mean, things in life that you could discuss that would be nice, but films are not one of them. It kind of brings out
So
the
Marco's
the nuts.
the
So,
village
okay,
idiot.
can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
You're making distinctions between film and movies, or who's making the
I
distinction?
am.
silly.
You
no,
are.
that's
Yes.
not real.
Okay, and what about cinema? Where does that fall?
If you're in Paris, what about cinema?
Or should I say cinema? Should I say
Oh, ew. That's how he knows that, because he went to seminary for 20 years and he just learned these languages. That's all he knows.
I mean, I'm just going to say this, and I think our discerning crowd will understand.
love it.
All films are movies, but not all movies are films.
Sure, there is a connotation with film, which is that it's sophisticated.
Well,
that
maybe
it
more the auteur
says-
theory.
Okay, we're not going to go with
I know
auteur.
we're not, but
But could we? I actually find it very interesting.
No, we can't, because we have a lot.
We don't have a lot of time, but if you're interested, it's a very interesting idea of
Yeah, and
analyzing
read
film,
the-
and we have a few auteurs nominated for best director.
Maybe we need to have Annette back to speak about some.
So
of
You
these.
should have
Theater.
both Andy and I back, because he and I disagree on the auteur. I'm more of a
Really?
movie person. He's more of a film person.
Oh, yeah.
And see, this is the hard thing. I've seen a lot of these
Oh.
films.
Yeah.
I will get very few.
Film guy.
I will get very few of these right. Andy has seen none
None
of
of-
these
yes.
movies and will score like 25
Because
out
he,
of
he
25.
does
Really?
read all the film criticism.
Oh, he does, yeah.
He's
That's
really
cool.
interested in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started. Oscar predictions: who will win?
Yes.
Who should win? So we'll start with one of the gimme categories. There's quite a few gimmies this year. Oppenheimer.
In some years, this is a very easy year, but in some year, kind of like the best of times and the worst of
the best
times.
of times and the worst
This is
of
like
times.
the easiest of years, the worst of years.
Yes. So we have some gimme. Oppenheimer, probably not to be denied, but we'll get to that. So we'll start with international feature film.
Okay, first of all, that is a gimme. Let me just tell
No,
you
yeah,
something.
okay, can I go
Oh,
over-
wait.
Is
Anytime. Okay, go
anyone
ahead.
letting me speak? Am I being silenced? Do I
Go
need
ahead.
to go American Ferrera on you?
Okay, go
It's
ahead.
literally impossible to be a woman.
Okay.
Quote. International feature film. Oh, I don't know these languages. Marco. Lo Capitano,
It's
Italy.
from Italy.
Perfect Days, Japan.
It's supposed to be very good. Haven't seen it.
Society of the Snow, Spain.
Excellent.
On
you
Netflix.
can get it on Netflix.
Yeah. Teacher's Lounge, Germany.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, but how can teachers be interested?
Yeah, well, how dare you? That was my whole life. Lastly, we have, okay, and we're not needing to make commentary. We'll talk about it after I say the these. The Zone of Interest, the UK. So,
Okay, now-
interesting from the UK, but the movie is in German. So, Zone of Interest
Yeah, but Jonathan Glazer
is British.
British.
So, directed by Jonathan Glazer.
And it's based on Martin Amos's book.
Yeah, loosely based on a Martin Amos novel.
Have you read a lot of Martin Amos?
Not at all.
Do you prefer him or his father?
Probably
Do you know
him.
his father's name?
Oh my gosh, how could it? How could I forget? How couldn't
How
I?
couldn't I remember? How couldn't I remember?
Kingsley.
So, who is going to win almost without a shadow of a doubt is the movie The Zone of Interest.
Now, I want to make a disclaimer here.
Okay.
Okay, why it's going to win.
Well, it's not because it's a World War II movie.
It is true. If you have a German concentration camp,
well,
they win.
Okay, so
They win no matter what.
now, so
Is this the one about the family that lives next to
the
Auschwitz
Zone
or
of
something?
Interest is about.
Oh, it should win.
It's I don't know Haas. He's some high Nazi
I
official.
thought he was the head of Auschwitz.
He runs Auschwitz. Yes,
Right.
I mean I'm sure in terms of like
That is a career goal for many of you.
the Nazi system, like the first,
What
Hitler
do you
was
want
the
to be
one.
when you grow up? I want to be a part of a pogrom and kill millions of people.
So he
Move to Auschwitz.
runs Auschwitz. He's the head of it, and it's called the Zone of Interest. Was this area that was just like around, like adjacent to Auschwitz, but was where the people lived. Like there were people living in Auschwitz, like not
honestly,
in the concentration
I
camp.
had never thought about that till
But
this
in the
movie
city,
came out.
right? So
Yeah.
there's like villagers who live there, and then Nazi, they're people high ranking, or just people who work, in the concentration camp. So the story is about this family that lives in this beautiful, kind of almost pastoral, like beautiful garden home right next to Auschwitz. And so the Holocaust or sort of what's going on in Auschwitz is alluded to, and sometimes there's a scene of them. Have you seen it?
No, I will only see it with your father, so he can tell me when to cover.
So
my
like there's scenes like when he has Haas is his name. He has the people who make the like where they were incinerated and sort of like how do they like a new way of incinerating people more efficiency. So he has the people like who are like selling their system come to the house, and you hear like constant screaming like sounds of death and yelling and dogs barking. You're kind of constantly in the background. You always see the smoke kind of in the background. You know, obviously the body's being incinerated, so we know very early on that smoke is bodies. But other than that, it's never referred to. It's not. It's about the Holocaust, but never really talked about. So it's kind of like
it really
this.
sounds amazing.
It's an
Honestly,
amazing
it does.
movie. So that will win, and that
It
should
should
win.
win.
Highly recommend. Kind of an arty movie. He makes some choices, Jonathan Glazer, but I think he really made like bold choices.
Yeah, and that's and I think it, unlike a lot of movies about the Holocaust, like when you watch them and you become so horrified by the unbelievable heinous crimes that were being committed, you walk away thinking, well, at least that would never happen to me. I think what Zone of Interest, though I haven't seen it, I think in truth we all have our zones of interest in our life.
Sure.
You know, where we live and we don't necessarily consider what's going on around us. And I think that's a hard thing to do with the Holocaust because it was so horrendous.
Yeah, and you don't want to make the Holocaust a metaphor
No,
for
but I think it
other
is-
things, but it's both the horrors of the Holocaust. Also, we all are we're not all Nazis who are
No, but we all can.
actively, committing genocide, but like global warming, like fast fashion, like I buy clothes that are really cheap, and it's sweatshops, in Malaysia that I
Or
don't
where
see.
your dad and I live in Kansas City. We have a zone of interest.
Yes, you do.
So, but anyway, I think in that sense,
it's a
that's
commentary for today,
which is a
and
hard thing to do when it's a film about
which
the
I think
Holocaust.
really well done. So
Marco, what do you think will win?
recommended.
I have a question about Zone of Interest, actually. Was it in German, Polish?
It's in German. I don't know if it's German. I don't know if it's German
They
Polish.
would, the Nazis would speak German. I would think most of and they
People
don't
around.
talk to many prisoners.
No, you don't. Well, I mean, you see one prisoner. He actually like delivers something to the house. But no, you never actually see.
So yeah, you guys, yeah.
I'm gonna take your recommendation because I haven't seen any of these.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's a really good movie. Highly recommend.
I will say
Very hard
Society
to
of
see, but-
Snow is very good.
Yeah, and that's a little
Yeah.
probably more. I mean, I know it's not like an accessible topic, but
But it's a little bit.
it's on
more so.
Netflix, so you can watch it.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
a good film.
Okay, so then we'll talk about screenplay.
Okay, this is a hard one.
Adapted and original. So we'll start with adapted screenplay.
Here we go with okay.
So we have American Fiction. So I haven't seen that movie, so
I know, I
don't,
really want to.
It seems awesome, but I don't know much about it. American Fiction.
I know about it, but I haven't seen it.
Barbie. So that's kind of controversial that it's adapted because yes, it's an original story, but it's based on pre-existing IP.
Which
Barbie.
is so bizarre.
So it's an adapted for this other award show, maybe original. Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and then the aforementioned Zone of Interest. So who will win? It's kind of a
Okay.
crapshoot.
Wait, can you explain a little bit adapted interest? Like what makes it
Well,
adapted?
It's based on pre-existing material.
Yeah, and I think they
okay.
changed it. I don't know if they changed it this year. I think it used to have to be really adapted from like a book. And then they changed it to
okay.
say if something is kind of known, then you're taking something that is known and you're adapting it for the screen.
Okay.
And so that makes it a little controversial because
So, like for example, the Killers of the Flower Moon. That's not on here, but why?
It just
is it
wasn't-
just because the
it just
Academy
wa-
didn't choose
it just
it?
wasn't
right, but it wasn't.
nominated,
So
which is
you know,
a
American Fiction was a
travesty.
novel.
Yes,
or was it a book?
it was a novel.
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer
Oppenheimer. I always mispronounce it. Oppenheimer.
gets worse.
American Prometheus.
Yes, huge
Read
tome.
it. Read
yeah.
it. It's amazing. Poor Things was a book, which I can't recommend. And then Zone of Interest was by
The
Martin Amis.
novel.
So
but Barbie again, not like, oh, this is a novel that we turned in, but it's pre-existing IP, so it's intellectual property,
Yeah.
which is kind of the maybe a more recent trend. So it was adapted.
so the race seems to be between
American Fiction and Barbie.
and Barbie. Well, Oppenheimer, you don't think that? Okay, no, he won't win because he's gonna somebody else.
Screenplay often goes with Best Picture, but I don't think Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer
I
will
would
win.
say Barbie. They've got to give it something.
Yeah, I think right now American Fiction has a lot of the.
Really? Okay, well, I think they've got to give Barbie something.
So I think American Fiction or Barbie would probably be the two.
I'll say Barbie.
Screenplay usually is somewhat predictive of Best Picture, but I think Oppenheimer is going to just
Sweep a lot of the
lot of
awards.
categories, so they won't feel indebted. I think Barbie may be their only win.
Well, yeah, because
Maybe some technical awards, but I think American Fiction will win. I think what should win is Poor Things.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know you saw it. Did you like it?
I could not recommend it to anyone because it's like in essence a sex comedy. So in that sense, it's not great. But if you take out that, it's hilarious. I actually,
Is it really? All your brothers saw it.
I really liked it. The dialogue is
one
witty.
One of them didn't like it. I won't say the name.
Greg.
No,
Nick didn't like it.
I'm not saying the name.
Okay, well, I just did. They don't care. They will not be listening. I think Poor Things, it's like very funny. And the story of Poor Things is, it's very, it's a Frankenstein-esque story. But this woman.
Also a Barbie story.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a kind of like a something inanimate coming back to life. So it's kind of a dark story. But this, this is relevant for what we'll talk about Best Actress. This lady kills herself.
Yeah.
She's pregnant. And this doctor kind of gets her body fresh off her death. So she still is like somewhat alive. And so this lady is pregnant. So and this isn't scientifically possible. It's kind of like a fable. But the doctor.
Oh my gosh. I thought it was a documentary and I don't like documentaries. Why I wasn't going to see it.
The doctor removes the baby that's still alive, cuts out the baby's brains and then plants it in the dead woman's body. So she is in a woman's body, but with a toddler brain. And so the script, especially only Emma Stone, like she goes from like baby talk to toddler talk to like grasping the language. So in that sense, the screenplay is brilliant. They capture that really well. And then it's just like zippy and funny.
But it is very sexual. So we are not recommending
I
anyone
literally
to see
said
it.
I do not recommend
Yeah, no,
it.
I would appreciate that. Thank you for telling me.
But
I was going to watch it.
it's a great script, but I don't
What do
think
you think will win?
Do not think
You
it will
know,
win.
I am gonna go with Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Okay.
Oppenheimer. That's a safe
Okay, I'm
choice.
saying Barbie.
Okay. Next, so original screenplay. So this is original material. You have Anatomy of a Fall, which is a French movie. The Holdovers. We can talk about that. It's Alexander Payne. It's on Peacock. You can watch it. Most people love it. Maestro, Bradley Cooper's movie. You have May December.
It was good. May December, very
good. Todd Haynes.
I don't like Todd Haynes as a filmmaker as a rule because he makes movies that I wouldn't personally agree with.
So it's
Julianne
Julianne Moore, Natalie Portman, kind of Mary Kay Letourneau, kind of reinterpreting that, kind of setting her, a different job. She's a pet shop owner, but she has an affair with a young co-worker. And Natalie Portman is this kind of deranged actress who's kind of, bottom of the barrel trying to gain prestige through doing.
She's really good.
Kind of like, doing method
She's
to
really
become an
good.
actress in this biopic of this sort of scandalous story. May December is actually quite excellent.
Yeah.
And the screenplay is kind of just so
And the performances are really good. I'm
Yeah.
surprised one of them didn't.
well
get
because
a nod.
it's it's kind of a strange movie and a small
Yeah.
movie in that, and it's making fun of actors, and so
Oh, that's true.
Academy probably
Hollywood doesn't like that.
But it's a brilliant script, so probably maybe one of the better scripts of the year will not win, and then we can talk about this when
What
we
do
talk.
you think will win?
We can talk about this movie when we talk about Best Picture, but Past Lives is already nominated. I think Anatomy of a Fall will win.
I think Anatomy of Fall will. It is a brilliant film.
Brilliant movie. French,
One of my favorites.
one of my favorites of the year too.
Yeah, I really like.
It's a French.
What do you think?
French courtroom drama.
I
but
started it last night. I couldn't finish it because I had to go to sleep. But it was amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Really
it really,
good.
really
and the
amazing what I've
script is.
seen.
I mean, you
But
talk.
I'm thinking, what are they going to give Bradley Cooper? Are they going to give him
Nothing.
anything?
They never give Bradley Cooper
No,
anything.
no.
Let's not be handsome in Hollywood.
No.
That's why I didn't pursue a
That's-
career in film.
That's not why
Not,
Maestro is
not that I
catching fire.
not that I really liked Maestro. I thought
I
it was a
didn't like
little
it.
kind of trippy.
I
and
liked it.
But
I
do you
think it-
do you
I
think they're going to
love
give
it.
him something?
No,
They
no,
don't
no,
never
no.
give him anything.
No, that's not true. He's not that. What about A Star Is Born? He has Oscars.
Okay,
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if it's true either.
Well,
but anyway,
I'm going to say May December.
you know what? That could win.
I mean, it.
I
should
really
win.
liked it. I thought it was
I
excellent.
don't think American Fiction is going to win anything besides this, and I think that movie is considered great. People probably want to give it some type of.
But that's a different category. We're in original.
Where I'm
We're an original screenplay.
Exactly. And I'm saying that they may not win anything else, so they might give it to
for
this
adapted,
movie.
which is a
Now,
category
can I
we're
ask
not
a
in
question?
anymore.
Now, original screenplay.
Oh, sorry.
is
I get it. You're right.
original being that it's original.
No, original means is that they stole it from someone else, but no one knew. They killed the author first, and no one knew it.
But my question is, May December is really based on, like, kind of loosely on this true story.
Right, that's where the whole intellectual, but they're not. I don't think you can call them intellectual property. And it wasn't based on a
I
book.
see. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
I
yeah.
see. Okay.
It's kind of a reimagining.
And
of
it
that.
and like and Barbie is Barbie. Yeah, this really is a reimagining, and there's lots of differences between the real story and the.
I mean, because Maestro is based on a real person.
Oh, true.
but it was but it wasn't based on a book. Though his daughter helped. His daughter's book actually was a part of the screenplay. I mean, helped Bradley Cooper write it. So okay, Anatomy of a Fall.
Yep, so
Yes.
probably Anatomy of a
Okay.
Fall. Okay, we'll go next to director. So best director, so we have Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and then Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall. So
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan
this year
will win.
He better.
he's never won
Absolutely travesty.
an Oscar, which
That's
matters for directors.
One of my favorite filmmakers, as
Is
opposed
he-
to
you do-
movie makers.
You do love.
I love Christopher Nolan.
What's
I've
your
always-
favorite Christopher Nolan film?
Well, right now it's probably Oppenheimer because it's always the one I saw. But I love the Batman. I mean, I love Batman.
Yeah.
And I really liked Inception.
Yeah,
I liked
Inception-
Inception. What was the Leo one?
Interstellar.
That's
Oh.
that's Inception.
What's the one he made with Denzel's son, John Washington?
Oh my gosh.
I can't. I can't.
Memento. No.
No, what is
No,
it called? It's so it's,
That actually, Memento is actually one of my favorite Christopher Nolan films. It's so small though, and it's old at this point. But and Guy Pearce is amazing.
I really like
Tenet.
Tenet.
It's indecipherable.
You know what is really good to me too is Insomnia.
Yeah. Oh, Insomnia is great.
Insomnia is
Robin
great.
Williams.
Oh, I know.
He
But
was
who else
great
is
in
it?
he
Who
was
else?
well Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, I love
Yeah,
Al Pacino.
Insomnia is great. Really good Al Pacino performance.
So Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite. Oh, and then my gosh, what movie are we forgetting that he made last year? The war movie.
Oh yeah, I don't know if that was last year.
Was it 2 years ago? What was I?
I don't know. I'm terrible.
Not Dunkirk, but
It is Dunkirk.
Was it Dunkirk?
Oh, Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Yeah, great movie.
That's
great.
a great movie.
Can I say one thing about Christopher Nolan that I think is
Yes.
probably very appreciated by people, but I just don't know it? He makes sound a vital part of his movies.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because a lot of directors, I think, wouldn't necessarily consider sound. But to watch Christopher Nolan really does involve all the senses. Like, you're not just hearing what people are saying. He makes the sound of what they are doing a part of the
Yeah, and that's a huge part of Oppenheimer with the bomb and the silence and the play
So
there.
Christopher Nolan, if you're out there, I am one of your biggest fans,
Yeah, so I think he will win.
and he should win.
Will it be super surprising if he doesn't?
Oh, it'll
Yeah.
be.
He will win.
He will.
I mean,
this is one of the few years where Christopher Nolan. I mean, the director of the drama has won like every award there is.
yeah, and I think he should win. I think Martin Scorsese only has one Oscar, which,
is absolutely terrible.
and I would say Killers of the Flower Moon is astounding. It's probably my favorite movie of the year. I think it's absolutely astounding. So such
I'll
an
save
impo-
my comments for when we
such
get
an
to Best
important
Picture.
story.
I loved it.
But, so he won't win the award, but he only has one. Some would consider this his magnus opus, Killers of the Flower Moon. At least it's a crystallization.
Well, I think the other
of-
thing that's important to say, and this is true. I think this is still true. When you're voting for the Academy Awards, everyone votes for Best Picture. But only the directors vote for the director. Only the best actor votes for the actor.
I think it's for
interesting.
nominations.
Oh, is it?
I thought.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
could be wrong.
Can someone from the Academy please call
Let
us?
us know. I think it's like
And
so he'll win, and he probably should win.
I think Christopher Nolan.
But
should win.
Glazer, I mean, it's a pretty every single one of those movies. The
Yes.
directors are excellent. I mean, this is no category for the week.
No, and which is part of the reason why. I mean, Greta Gerwig, who did a great job, and there are aspects of Barbie that I will make a few comments when we go to Best Picture. There are aspects of it I thought that were amazing that were due to her direction, but I think in a way, part of the reason she didn't get nominated, I don't think she did an amazing job, but it's also a big movie, and big movies don't usually
Yeah,
get.
it's commercial.
It's a commercial
It's
movie.
literally a commercial for
But
that
there
car
really
America
were
Ferrera
so
was
many
driving.
movies that really could have. There are other people that could have been on here.
Yeah, Alexander Payne didn't get nominated for The Holdovers, which is everyone loves that movie, so not nominated here. Okay, we'll move on to Best Supporting Actress, probably my least favorite category this year. So you have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer,
It was
kind of
very good.
controversial performance. Some people thought she was terrible.
That was not fair.
I thought she was great.
I thought she
great
was
too.
really good.
Danielle Brooks, Color Purple, have not seen that
The Color
movie.
Purple, but I hear she's amazing.
America Ferrera, Barbie.
I like American Ferrera.
She's great. I think she's great. Not in
Really?
this movie. In general, I
she's
like
great.
her.
Just-
She's a
yeah.
funny actress. I think that character
I was surprised she got
was
not-
so flat.
and so really
and
she
so
was less
one-
dimensional than Barbie.
Far less dimensional. I mean, she basically is like the foil for. I mean, not the foil, but and her. I will say her speech on being a
Oh
woman,
my gosh.
which some people think is sort of the
Brilliant.
apotheosis of feminist thought.
Yeah, in 1980.
It's so tame. So before I saw Barbie, I was kind of like, this movie is going to be like a feminist manifesto. Like, this is going to be like the fifth wave of feminism. Like, don't let your young kids see it. And then I saw it, and it was so tame. And it was like Living Waters. I mean, has such a more developed,
Oh, yeah, I was disappointed in
sophisticated
it.
understanding of what it means to be a woman. Basically, the thesis is it's like hard to be a woman because you got to be pretty and smart. And if you're too pretty or you're too smart, people don't trust you. And it's like, okay, great. Like that.
And there's truth to it. But
Sure, I
it's
mean, it's
kind
not-
of an old truth nowadays.
Yeah. And it's definitely, it wasn't compelling. And her speech, I thought was laughable. It was
Yeah, I agree.
like a undergrad's
I mean, the
attempt at.
performances were good. Well, I'll wait till we get.
So
to
yeah,
Best
I don't
Picture.
think she was that
Yeah.
great, but she got nominated.
And I think Divine Joy Randolph. I mean,
So we have
honestly,
Jodie Foster for Nyad.
like 3 people saw it, and
Well,
Nyad
it's-
is an extremely. Diana Nyad was an extremely
Like,
unlikable
yes,
person.
very
And I
controversial.
like
She's a long distance swimmer.
one of my children, one of my sons, accused me of not wanting to see Nyad because she's a lesbian, and I said, "Oh no, I disliked Diana Nyad when I was 6 years old and watching her on America, the Wide World of Sports. She's just an unpleasant person."
Yeah, and movie doesn't really touch on that.
Yeah, so I think, I'm sure Annette Bening is very good, but it's such a small film. I don't think.
Yeah,
anyone
it's just,
will
I mean,
see
it was a movie, so people get nominated for
Yeah.
Oscars. And then Davine Joy Randolph
She's
for
won every single
The
thing.
Holdover. So she will win. And she has like swept every precursor award. I don't think she's that good in this movie. I think it's
I just don't think it was that hard of a role.
well. I think it's. I think there was no subtlety,
No, that's true.
and so it
But
almost.
she's the one who kind of got through to Paul Giamatti.
Well, no, I don't even want to get started on Paul Giamatti, who was like.
Giamatti. But we love his dad.
So Paul Giamatti, and we'll get to that, but his character had a turn that was undeserved. Like he wasn't ever really a mean guy. He was only just really.
Is she the cook?
She's
Yeah.
the cook. And her son, I mean, she has, it's a very again, it's a pretty broad role. So she works, she's a black woman who works in this all white school, kind of treated terribly by these white prep school kids. That dynamic is interesting. They don't really go into that besides one scene. I think that's more interesting. And then her son was at the school, the boarding school, and then wanted to go to college, couldn't, had to go to Vietnam, and he was killed. Very sad. So it's hard to criticize it, but the role had no nuance. It was just
Right.
kind of
Yeah, it's a film
I'm a
that I don't-
motherly figure that's hard, but I break down because my son. To me it seemed almost like a that would work on a stage with big sort of performances and big reactions, but on a movie it rings a little false, and it seems. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it, but she'll definitely win. So who cares what I think?
One prominent magazine said that Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple will win, which I thought was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No, I think it's going to be Divine Joy.
Yeah, she's won every award.
Okay.
Okay, so supporting actor, we have Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction.
I love Sterling. K.
Yeah, he's
Brown, by
great.
the way.
I haven't seen American Fiction, but he's wonderful. Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer. Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. Who do you think will win?
Well, my heart is torn
Who do you think? Okay, not who
I think
should
Robert
win.
Downey Jr. will
Robert,
win,
he
and I
will
want
win.
him to win.
He's never won
I
an
love
Oscar,
him.
and he's
Didn't he win for Chaplin?
no, he's never won an Oscar.
But he's been nominated.
Yeah, but he's never won, and he's royalty. I mean, his dad is.
Well, he's he's such an amazing story.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah,
And, I mean, he is. He's
yeah, out of deep drug addiction.
And thank you, Mel Gibson.
Yeah, and Hollywood royalty. Like his dad
He
is such a
is.
significant director.
Yeah. Do you know any movies his dad directed? But don't ask me because I don't know any either. His dad did independent films.
Yeah, and he
Oh,
was
wow.
kind of like a
But honestly,
avant-garde almost
a
director.
very difficult father.
Yeah,
for-
very influential for Tarantino though. So if you
Yeah.
like Tarantino
Wow.
movie, And there's a really beautiful documentary about.
yes, it's
Called
really
is
good.
it called Downey?
I don't remember what it's
Called
called.
Junior?
Just look up Robert Downey
Netflix.
Jr.
Robert Downey. It's about his relationship with his dad.
It's
It's really
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 interesting.
beautiful.
Yeah.
What about De Niro? He was great.
Okay, I want to say a couple things about it. First of all, I think Robert De Niro was people. I know he got nominated, but a lot of people criticized his performance. I thought his performance was really
I thought it
good.
was
I think he was really good.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. I mean, De Niro is De Niro. I mean, De Niro can't give a bad performance.
Sure, he's
so I don't think he
one of the
deserves
best
to win.
actors of
Yeah,
all
I mean,
time.
De Niro is amazing. I honestly think Ryan Gosling could maybe win and should maybe win. I just love Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
but Ryan Gosling he's so funny.
He is so good. I know his nomination
He's
got
just-
overshadowed because Margot Robbie didn't get nominated and Greta Gerwig
And
didn't
he's
get
handled
nominated.
that really
He was
well.
so gracious in saying no, I wouldn't be here. if it
But
wasn't
he
for
also
them."
didn't turn down the nomination, which I appreciate.
But he's so good in Barbie.
He's so good.
I actually think Margot Robbie is amazing in Barbie too. I think she's
Oh, I do too.
I think she's
really
so good. I'm sad she wasn't nominated. But I think Robert Downey Jr. will win. It's a serious role. It's a biopic. Ryan Gosling will get an Oscar.
Yeah, he's
Robert Downey Jr.
Has De Niro, has he received Oscars before?
yeah.
Yeah.
And what? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I think
Probably
the Raging
got
Bull.
Raging Bull. I
And
don't know.
he got Best Supporting Actor. I'm almost positive. Look it up. For he is. If you've never seen Godfather 2, he is seamless in that movie.
Yeah.
He's seamless. Robert De Niro is seamless in almost every performance he gives. He is that.
That's a great movie.
He's won
seamless.
for Best Actor in Raging Bull and Best Supporting for Godfather
Wow.
2.
Thank you.
Good job, Annette.
Thank you.
But it is crazy to think but you look at his nominations: Taxi Driver,
He
The
doesn't
Deer
give-
Hunter,
Have you ever? Didn't leave my room for 3 days after I
The
made
Deer-
dinner.
Awakenings,
It's such
Cape Fear,
Awakenings, no.
Silver Linings
You can
Playbook.
skip Awakenings. To her, you could skip Silver Linings.
I can't stand Silver Lane.
I don't
know,
like that movie either.
Can't
Oh,
stand it at all.
You just don't like the director.
I don't.
I know you don't.
Okay. So
I know you don't. That was a mom thing
thank
to
you.
say.
Thanks, Mom. So Robert Downey Jr. will win. He's really great in it.
He's very good in it.
I think Mark Ruffalo was amazing in Poor Things. He was great.
But he's another one who's always good. But I don't know if it was a big enough film for him to
Exactly.
win. Yeah.
And I think Robert Downey Jr. again will win. So
he should. I think he should.
he is deserving. Okay, then we have Best Actress. So this is probably the one that's hardest to predict. You have Annette Bening for Nyad. No, she won't win. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the
Yes.
Flower Moon.
That's
Sandra
my vote.
Hewler for Anatomy of a Fall.
She's amazing.
Unbelievable, and she was unbelievable in The Zone of Interest.
Yeah, no,
She's an amazing. She reminds me of Kate Blanchett in her capacity
yes,
to
she's-
play cold seeming characters.
Is she the mom in Zone of Interest?
She's the wife of,
Wife of
and
the
she's
comic
kind of almost worse than him, which is kind of crazy to think about. She's astounding.
She's so good.
Carrie Mulligan in Maestro. Didn't really like it.
I thought she was okay.
I think it was a terrible role, and her
it
accent.
was a terrible role, and honestly, she was not. It was okay. She was as a woman,
Maestro is
was a little bit
Carrie
more
Mulligan
mixed.
played
Leonard
Bernstein's wife, Leonard
Elmer
Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein, the most famous American composer, kind of.
I think Stephen Sondheim is the most famous American composer, but go ahead.
Well, I don't think
Go ahead.
that's objectively true.
Go ahead.
But he was famously bisexual. I mean, honestly, much more homosexual.
Right.
Like he dated men before his marriage.
Oh, he
during-
dated men. Thank you.
Slept with men. And Carrie Mulligan, for at least in the movie, was the only woman we see him falling in love with. But she's plays his
It
wife.
was really kind of a thankless role.
Yeah, it was a
really
thank-
And she's very good.
Yeah, it's just a good role. I mean, yeah, she's kind of, it's a hard, and she dies of cancer at the end. That's really moving. That's really well done. That relationship is actually kind of beautiful at the end, but I don't really think so. And then Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Who will win? Who will win? Who will?
So this is the race that no one can really predict. They're both kind of, so Lily Gladstone,
and Lily Gladstone won the SAG award.
Gladstone, yeah, which SAG is often predictive for the acting categories, of course. And then Emma Stone for Poor Things. I've seen both of those movies. Both are unbelievably good. Emma Stone is probably one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, and she's had
none.
a good year.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
she's
she's had a good
so good in it. It's physical. It's funny. It's challenging. She's amazing. Lily Gladstone, though, I heard this on a podcast, and this is what I can't quite get over. She's on screen with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, two of the best actors
ever,
and like scene chewing actors, and not like that they're overwrought, but they
just
when
dominate.
they're on a stage, you're like, when you're on a screen, you're like, you're just saying Leo or you see Robert De Niro, and she is very kind of a stoic.
She's
character.
really the heroine. She's really the only good person.
And a kind
in
of
the
a
movie.
thankless
Yeah.
role because she's sick for most of it because she's being poisoned, and I think she is so good. She holds her own.
She does.
With Leo. She has a pathos that she has to communicate just in her body
And
and
she
in
does
her
that
looks
well.
because she, is a stoic character who doesn't talk that much, and also she's sick. She's being poisoned for most of the movie, and she's poignant. I think she should win, and I
She
think
could.
she will win.
The only thing I would, how much of Killer of the Moon did you see?
I finished it. It was
Oh,
excellent.
you did. Okay. Oh, that was the one you started last night. Which movie?
No. The
Anatomy
Anatomy
of
of the Fall.
I would say and I don't know how much this goes into voting. And certainly, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the Best Supporting Actress is one they kind of often give one off. Like they win and like you never hear from them again, or they make they're making movies. You're thinking like, you want an Academy Award? Best Actress, they would tend to be a little bit more serious. Although you could go over the list of the last 10 years and you go, really, Emma Stone is extremely well liked.
Oh yeah, she's very likable.
She's very likable.
but she has an Oscar.
Well, she has an Oscar, but she also had a good year because the whole Nathan Fielder, the Curse thing, she got nothing but acclaim for that, and that will go nowhere in any award anywhere.
Yeah, but
because it's such a weird
so
thing.
good.
Well, again, I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, I would.
Oh, I wouldn't. But
The Curse on Paramount Plus.
don't watch it. I'm gonna say Emma Stone, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lily Gladstone.
Yeah,
wins.
and that's kind of toss up. I'm
Yeah.
going to say Lily Gladstone will win, and I think she should win, even though I think Emma Stone is so
I
good.
can't say that because I haven't heard Poor Things, but I can't imagine that was an easy character to play.
I think it's easier to play bigger than smaller, and Emma
Okay,
Stone
that's
is
true.
amazing. Like she does it
That's a good
so
point.
good. She's one of the best. But I just think Lily Gladstone is just the emotional heart of a movie
Yeah, she's really the only good person.
that is just so tortured.
Would it be unique though if this was like her first major role in a major movie?
No, I don't think so because that has happened before for Best Actress.
Okay. I really liked. She was amazing.
Yeah, so I think
Anne Bancroft was I'm talking about dating myself.
yeah, I don't have much to say about Anne Bancroft, but she maybe will win. Her and Emma Stone, but I'm going to go with Lily Gladstone.
Okay, I'm going with Emma. Who are you going with?
I'm gonna go with Lily Gladstone.
Okay, and then we got Best Actor. So we have Bradley Cooper for
That's another hard one.
Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, which is
And I know all of you have seen it.
well, that's on Netflix. Probably more people have seen that than any of
Really?
these. Yeah. Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. Ugh. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and then Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
I love Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, I love him too. Again, I haven't seen this
Yeah,
movie.
I haven't seen it
so it's
either,
only
but-
the major one I haven't seen. I've also not seen Rustin, but I've heard that isn't so good. He's probably great in it, but it's not
Yeah.
a great movie, so it's kind of hard to pull that off. Best actor in a movie that's not so good. So I think who will win has been winning most of them is Cillian Murphy
I think Cillian Murphy is going to win.
for
The-
Oppenheimer.
yeah,
He's
I-
so
Well, and how can you? The
Good.
movie is called Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. He plays Oppenheimer.
Yeah, with again small, so it's kind of like Lily
How can he
Gladstone.
not win?
You're in these movies that are detailing. I mean, in terms of scope, obviously Oppenheimer is much bigger in scope than Killers of the Flower Moon, but two essential American stories, things we need to know about,
Yeah, no, I agree.
and they're both
Thank you,
playing. No, I'm not being.
I agree with
funny.
you.
I actually think
No,
no one.
I'm saying thank you for bringing that up.
The
That's a
Killers
good
of the
point.
Flower Moon, like truly, it's a travesty on American.
Yet they do it in a way that doesn't make you want to shy away from watching it.
Yeah, but it's an important story. I mean,
Oh,
the
no, I
book
mean,
is
I think
amazing.
The book is, yeah, okay. We'll wait till we get there.
Yeah, but I would, yeah. So both important, but like Cillian Murphy is not overwrought in this movie at
Oh,
all.
not at all.
He's withers away. He becomes
And he's funny
emaciated.
and he's not funny.
And he's unlike. I mean, Oppenheimer wasn't a likable
No, he
figure. He
wasn't.
wasn't kind of charming. He was smart and difficult and made really hard decisions. And he is so good.
Yeah.
And like Lily Gladstone, he communicates a lot with how he looks and how he
Yeah, he should win.
is.
The thing with Paul Giamatti, I don't know why
So
he kept
Paul
winning. Why has he
Giamatti
won so many
is-
awards? That was a role it was probably written
also
for him.
in contention for this, probably more than anyone else. Someone else will win.
If anyone else wins it, will
I
probably
think
be
it
Paul
will.
Giamatti.
It will be Cillian Murphy, but if it's not, who I think should win, I think Cillian Murphy should win in this category.
And I think he will win.
Paul Giamatti
Might win.
is.
That was
this-
not a hard role to
It's
play.
like a trope that we've. He's Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World. Literally, he's
or a little bit Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Boy Meets World more than Mr. Holland's Opus, but he plays this professor who's ostensibly kind of monstrous the way
And he is monstrous the way he
Okay,
is.
no. This is my take. So if you ever see the movie, it's on Peacock.
Excuse
Everyone
me.
loves it. It's everyone's favorite movie. Everyone thinks it's a masterpiece. So he plays the trope of a professor who at boarding school. She's not at his college, but who's like very smart and he's very hard on the kids. But usually you have to dig deep to find their soft
You
side.
don't dig deep.
Paul Giamatti is like from the beginning kind to everyone but his students. Like maybe he's a little rough on the edges, but this lady brings him cookies in like the first scene, and he's like
Who is
so
one of my favorite actresses. Thank you.
he's so
Very
moved by it, and so I it was hard to believe
I loved anyone that was in Jim Caviezel's show.
how awful everyone thought he was when he was really kind. And he's so kind to the Divine Joy character
Yeah.
who
he's very kind to her always.
always. So you're like,
Yeah.
he's not monstrous, and it's like Paul Giamatti could play this character in his sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good performance, but
It's a good movie.
He was born to play a role like that.
Yeah.
And it's not that different, I don't think, than a lot of roles he plays.
No.
He kind of brings that to everything he plays.
Yeah, and so I would say he's great in a role that I don't think is that good, and I think Cillian Murphy is
Yes.
just lights out in Oppenheimer, and it wouldn't work if it wasn't for Cillian Murphy.
Oh, it wouldn't work. And I
and
don't know who else could have played
I don't
him.
know. Yeah, he's so deserving
me,
of it.
but-
So why is there talk that Paul would
Because
win?
I think he's well liked. And
People
Alexander Payne. It's
People
an easy
love
film.
The Holdovers. They
Yeah,
think it's a
hold over-
masterpiece.
I don't know why. He's made better films.
Oh, for sure, he's made better films.
He's made better films. So I don't whether it's one of those. Paul Giamatti has been nominated. I don't think he hasn't won. He was nominated for Best Supporting Act. No, he won for. Did he win for Cinderella Man? He might have won for Cinderella Man. I don't think he won. I don't even know if he's been nominated before. And I like Paul Giamatti. I don't want to, put the poor man down.
I don't think he's won. He's an amazing actor.
Yeah, but I just don't think it was. I don't think it's worthy. I mean, honestly, Robert. I mean, this is what I was going to say. Leo was not treated fairly. He's really good in that
Leo.
movie.
Okay,
Wow.
I think Leo. I mean,
I don't know why
I'm
he wasn't-
predisposed to him. I loved Leo in this role.
He was really good. And, I've read the book, and usually when I read the book of something, I also read like a lot of supporting material because I'm just like that. and it's a real character. And but it's actually a very difficult role because on one hand, he really does love his wife. And on the other hand, he's also really pursuing greed. And he really does both exist
does both
with him.
well.
And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
And you really believe both about him. You believe like you're ruthless and would kill your wife. Oh my gosh, you love your wife.
Yeah.
And that's not. And I don't know why people didn't like him in that. And
Yeah, it's shocking he wasn't nominated.
he was actually. So if you've read it and people said, "Oh, Leo's not very good," like they are wrong.
He's amazing.
Very
in it.
good in that movie.
Should deserve a nomination. But Cillian Murphy will win. Okay, last Best Picture. So we have 10 movies: American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of Interest. So this is
Oppenheimer.
this is a gimme. Oppenheimer will absolutely win this
Except
award.
remember La La Land and the Midnight movie swimming in the thing.
Yeah, that's
What was it called?
Uh,
You know the one I mean.
isn't it called?
William
No.
Dafoe and,
Isn't it called Midnight?
Midnight, yeah. So, but
I know,
I
I'm terrible. I don't remember any.
I think
movie name.
Oppenheimer will win. It's won
Is
everything.
it pretty clear?
Yeah,
that
that it
It's
will
just
win.
won everything.
Yeah.
It's won everything, and Christopher Nolan deserves it. Sometimes they'll give the best picture to like a director who hasn't won before and like deserves it. And even though I love Kevin Costner, like Dances with the Wolves does not hold up. Sorry, Kevin. But Oppenheimer, I said it right, didn't
Oppenheimer.
I? Oppenheimer. It is an amazing
It's
film.
a good movie. Yeah, really good. That will win. Probably should win. I mean, I think Killers of the Flower Moon is my favorite movie of the year.
I do want to say one thing about
I think
Killers
it
of the
should
Flower
win,
Moon.
but it will not.
One thing I really appreciated about it, I loved the book, and the author is one of my favorite authors, and I like, for a weird reason, I like things about Oklahoma. And it brings up, like, a lot of people don't know about the Tulsa Massacre, and you should know about the Tulsa Massacre. I mean, you should not be an American and not know about Tulsa Massacre. And you should not be an American and not know about how we treated the indigenous people. And so he brings up things. What the book did was, it's very much a procedural, which I love
it
books.
is.
And from Martin Scorsese, I know you'll be watching, or your daughter will be, and you'll tell him. From what I understand, because I couldn't understand why they made the FBI such a minor
So
part
the
of
book
it.
is basically the movie. We know from the very beginning who's
yeah.
killing these Osage people.
Well, and that's what he said. What he said was so it also the subtitle of the book is like the making of the FBI or something.
Yeah.
So when Jesse Plemons, who's the agent, and it's also in the story of the FBI, played by James Stewart. Up until that point in time, it was just the Bureau of Investigation, and they did mainly like, liquor and things like that. And this really helped make the Federal Bureau of Investigation what it was. And in the book, it is a dominant theme.
Yeah,
And
we
so-
don't know who's in the book. We don't know who's killing the Osage. We think Robert De Niro's character, like Hale, is like this great guy, kind of beneficiary. We don't know that Leo.
You don't know the shading of Leo.
Yeah.
But what
But in the movie, it's from Jump Street.
Well,
you
see,
know,
what Scorsese
De Niro
said-
and Leo are
What
kind of.
what Scorsese said, and I
doing
could
this.
be wrong. I could be wrong. He read the book, spent 8 hours with the author, and said, "I have to make this movie." And he said though that but he also knew that you'd have to have big actors in the role of Hale and a big actor in the Burkhart. And he said, he goes, so the reader would know more than the FBI guy, because the minute you saw the movie, you'd know these two big people are not in it to play small roles.
Yeah, and so originally he was going to make it a procedural, and actually Leo was going to play
the FBI.
Yeah, but I
agent.
also think it's interesting too, because when you make it like that, it is white people saving the indigenous. Like that's kind of not the book, but in the movie you could see how this is like.
Yeah.
And then the white people come in and they solve these indigenous people who couldn't do it for themselves. The book doesn't present it that way, but if you make it a procedural, it is a white savior movie
Yeah,
in a
'cause
way that it's far more complex
right.
because the Osage had no authority
But I do
or ability, because they were just, no one believed them. They were kind of stripped of any agency, so
even
it
though
had.
they were the wealthiest people in the nation
It's
at that
a
point in time.
it is such a blight on American history, like in a way that is astounding.
Well, and it, like
they were
that-
put into reservations in Oklahoma. They had to leave. They were forcibly removed from their homes, put into this land in Oklahoma, the worst of the worst, and then oil was struck there, which is like, wow, and they became like per capita the richest people in the world, and yet they didn't have access to their money.
Well, and like
It honestly is an appalling important.
oh my gosh, I can't think of Lily Gladstone's character's name.
No, I can't either.
Oh my
Molly.
Molly,
Was it
there we go.
was it
Molly Burkhart.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
there we go.
And so she was, whenever she would go to get money, she'd have to say to the Indian agent, Molly. Well, once she got married, Molly Burkhart, but before that, I think Molly Lim or something. And incompetent meant that you could not be in control of all your own money.
And they were all labeled incompetent.
Well, especially the full-blooded Osages.
because they had the most
access. And
head
so,
rates
I
to
mean,
the
it's just,
oil
it's
money.
degrading.
Wow.
It's degrading. And they kind of knew it was degrading. They didn't quite know what to do with it. But they also, one thing I really did appreciate is that, there's an unbelievably high range, high percentage of Indians indigenous people at one point that were alcoholics. But that is something that you could just kind of, you kind of know it so well, you're not really moved by it, even though it's a terrible thing, and why they became alcoholics is so terrible. But one of her sisters in the movie is an alcoholic, and they don't make any social comment on it, but yet you see it.
Yeah.
And so I think Scorsese, I think it was a much more subtle film than people.
For sure.
I don't know, and maybe it's because it's so long. It could have been
3.5
shorter.
hours.
3.5 hours.
No.
It
What is
maybe-
going to be removed from that movie?
Well, it could have been. I'm just saying maybe it would have made it
I
more
think it's a
accessible.
masterpiece. I love
But
it.
it's an amazing film.
Yeah,
It
so
really is.
Oppenheimer will win, maybe should win, but my favorite is Killers of the Flower Moon.
I don't think it has a. I don't.
Oh, no, it won't win at all.
Okay.
But that's what I think should win.
Actually, and in truth, I think Anatomy of a Fall ranks right up there as being a.
It's excellent. Yeah, it's
it
one
is
of my
an
favorites
excellent-
too.
It might
Good
be
Good year for movies.
Good
Some
year for-
really great movies on
good
this list.
films this year.
Good films.
We'll have to have you back, Annette, to talk about film noir,
Yes. Auteur.
auteur.
Film
Well,
noir.
those two don't go together. But,
Auteur, film noir.
They
But sort
don't
of
go
like
together.
categories of
you know, I'm not.
cinema.
I'm not a big.
Cinema.
I'm not a
Cinema.
big favor of a big fan of France, but I'm not a big fan of any country because I'm not.
because
She's
you're proud to be an
American.
American.
She's
Well, I
American.
just don't like to travel, so
She likes to be in
Um,
America.
But you do love
I
America.
do love America.
She loves America.
But one of the things I love about France is they're embracing because the French are kind of snotty, and they deserve to be snotty. They
Sure.
have the best cuisine in the world. It is a country that is, really elevates art. It elevates the arts, and so they really do have an amazing cultural taste in things that isn't just kind of unique to France. It really is something, and like their cuisine truly is the best in the world. They love American film, and they've been they love Hitchcock, and they took film noir and took it to we get the name from there, but they made in the 50s movies that are really amazing, and I love that the French in that way are kind of humble. They're not afraid to when it comes to film, they're
Sure.
not afraid to embrace American movies, and so and in some ways I feel that a little bit in Anatomy of a Fall, because it has it's kind of slow, but it's also kind of fast paced.
Yeah, I mean it's not like action packed,
No,
but I
it's
think
not
it's very
action-packed.
gripping. It takes place in a courtroom mainly.
Yeah, it's very and the sun is so good.
Yeah, it's really great movie. Highly recommend.
So anyway, so that's it. Those are our
Thank you.
predictions for the
Watch
year.
on Sunday, March 11th, I believe.
Thanks for being with us, Annette.
Isn't it March 7th
Nope, it's March
on ABC? It's an hour earlier this year.
March 10th.
Wish we were both-
Thank God I'm here, guys.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. Bye.